Yo, what's up guys? Zeus here back with another video, and today I'm finally going to be looking at the new Hunter persona changes. So I already looked at the Survivor ones on stream. I was planning on looking at the Hunter ones on stream, but can't actually do that because I got work and IVT practice coming up, so there's not going to be any night session streams. I already said it on the last night session stream I did, like the final one for the week, but for the moment there's not going to be any night session streams, only midday streams, just for IVT prep and also my job, since it's a lot of times I'm going to be working at night, you know. So yeah, that's just like little PSA, but yeah, we're gonna be looking at a Kuroshiro's video, just going over the new Hunter persona. Shout out to Kuroshiro for obviously uploading this for us to see. I'm gonna just be giving my thoughts as he showcases the personas, what I think the personas could be used for, who I think they would be best on, etc. Just as a rough draft kind of thing. I didn't know people have told me that they actually want me to make a video discussing like potential new persona builds for every hunter based on their strengths of the personas and the new talents that have been added into the game. So let me know if you guys want me to do that for both hunter and survivor, and obviously if you guys want that, then I will do it. But with that being said, let's just hop right into it with the first one, which is the one that I was memeing on the most. Overwhelm. It's not Overwhelm, it's Overwhelm. Really weird.
So the first one will be Overwhelm. For
Hopefully that's
Overwhelm,
not
as you
loud.
can see here, right, we're gonna test it out with Joseph first. So from the side of Joseph, right,
This is still so stupid to me. Attack recovery speed increases by 5, 10, and 15 for knocking down 2, 3, 4 different survivors. This is still so stupid to me. Genuinely. Like, and I know like this is obviously going to be this is not, it's not as bad as it was when they announced it, because before they used to be 20, and before it didn't specify different, this was just knock down survivors. So in concept you could just farm off the same survivor endlessly to get max Overwhelm. But obviously now that's not the case. It's definitely going to be a more niche persona build now, because more often than not you're only going to get the 10% at best, since you need to knock down 3 different survivors to get the 10 minimum. So it's not going to be the greatest on a lot of like standard characters, but for characters like specifically this little bastard right here and Hermit, it's going to work wonders for them. Characters that just benefit off of slugging and dragging the game out are going to benefit a lot from this persona.
Overwhelm, what this does is increases your attack recovery speed when you knock down 2
Huh.
or more survivors, and you only need to knock them down once, by the way. So here, as you can see, I knocked down 1 survivor. Now I'm going to teleport towards another survivor. I'm going to hit TME here, and that's 2 survivors that has been knocked down. We're just going to see it from our top right here. So Overwhelm increases your attack recovery speed by 5%, 10%, and then 15% for each different survivor you knock down. Now, of course, this will not be resetted regardless of what happens. I'm just going to turn on AI control here.
Hear that, guys? Permanent. Yeah, I'm still gonna forever hold on to that. By the way, all the people that told me that oh, netease would never make it permanent. Netease would never give the hunters just a permanent attack recovery. But yeah, I can read.
Here, so they can use up self-heal. But if we just go towards the other survivors for now, this is kind of just a way of showing you that even if the survivors use up self-heal, it doesn't really matter. Overwhelm will still stack regardless of what happens. But of
She has the music playing in the background. Did he know?
course, as you can see here, you kind of have to do the mental math yourself by seeing on the top right. 2 by 5 is 10. And then we just find the last one. Let me see, teleport
Where
to
is it?
the last TME.
Oh, double
There we
mind's
go.
eye.
So you can only have 3 stacks at max, which is 15% attack recovery speed as
Still
well.
good. That's still 1 stack in
What we're going
Berserker.
to do here is I'm going to pick this TME and then drop this TME down. But as you can see, there's a TME and the Perfumer that has just gotten up as well, and you still have your triple stacks of Overwhelm. So this works really well if you want to double down, a Rescuer, or if you want to, let's say, potentially speaking, double down harassers when they come in. So Overwhelm, honestly speaking, is really good for like the likes of Joker, the likes of maybe Sculptor, Bonbon, etc., etc. But
Yeah.
it's a very good trait. And as you can see here, right, from Joseph's side, we have Inertia, which is 10% attack recovery speed, and then adding an extra triple stack of,
Oh wow,
which is
yeah.
15%, you get 25% attack recovery speed. That is basically a Berserker, a max Berserker. So it is pretty scary, isn't it?
Photo is gonna be cancer. Oh my god. Photographer is gonna be cancer. He's gonna have Berserker on top of Berserker, so rescuing against this. If you get cut off from a photo, you don't make the rescue. Just blatantly. You don't make the rescue if he cuts you off. You don't make the rescue. He recovers too fast. I don't even think you make the rescue on chair. Like, unless you're Gravekeeper. Like, does any other rescuer make that rescue on chair? Like, realistically speaking. Feral Lady already couldn't rescue. Now Feral Lady she's just down in the dirt. Does any rescuer actually, like, even make that? Huh.
Okay, so the next buffed hunter persona is actually no survivors. So basically, no survivors before it was an attack recovery speed of 8%, but now
Oh, now it's just 10%, yeah.
after the buff, the attack recovery speed now is 10%. So basically, when there are survivors nearby, when there's a down survivor and there are survivors nearby, your attack recovery speed is increased by 10% instead of 8% now.
Percy is gonna love that, by the way. Percy's gonna love that. Percy is gonna love that.
Then our next single stack persona trait will be Obsession. So after ending a pursuit, if there is no moving survivors within 60 meters in front of you, your movement speed will be increased by 6% for 15 seconds. So if we just leave the perfumer there, as you can see, this comes into effect right now. So this is basically really good if you are a really big target change type of hunter. I would say this probably works really well with the likes of Wu Chan, with the likes of Opera Singer as well, but more or less, this
You know what's crazy? Photo can unironically run that too. Wow, we're just soft buffing photographer every other patch, aren't we? Every time we're soft buffing photo. We are. We're soft buffing photo every single patch. Okay. Oh Lord.
this kind of just does activate immediately once you change targets. However, there's also one additional thing as well that I do have to mention for everyone. If we just locate our nearby survivor, which is the TME right now, the TLDR of this is if you actually knock a survivor down too, this will actually activate. So as we can see here, Obsession does
Oh
activate, but if you
wow.
pick up a survivor from Balloon, it will deactivate.
Doesn't matter.
Righty,
Yeah.
next will be Control Freak. So Control Freak got a mini buff in which when you drop down from, a high place,
Oh, just the
or
cooldown
just,
reduction.
a drop down area in general, instead of the cooldown being 16 seconds, excuse me, it will now be 10-second cooldown for your basically movement speed boost of a 10%. This is kind of one of the only changes for this one. They've just reduced the
Lizard.
cooldown from 16. Next hunter persona will be Famine. So for Famine, during the first 60 seconds of the game, if there are no survivors within 80 meters of the hunter, all survivor will now have a 6% decoding debuff, which simply just
This I'm gonna hate. Because one, they buffed this. This used to be 5%. This used to be 5%. They increased it by 1%, which is like, it's not that crazy, but it's only a 1% thing. But I'm gonna hate it. And it's because of the fact that this persona trait counters rotation, and I'm a heavy rotation guy. If you watch any videos, any streams of mine, I'm always on the talk of rotate, 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 rotate. Like, rotation is a must, right? So this is a counter to that, and for me personally, I hate it, but it also makes sense because this is their kind of way of addressing Cypher Rush to a degree. But now every character just has a 6% decoding debuff for the first 60 seconds of the match, which means characters like Mercenary and Weeping Clown, Knight, like all the rescuers, they have now like above a 30 to they have like a 25 to 30% debuff now if they're within that 20 to 25 decoding debuff range originally. Which means forward's buff, by the way, the one that he got just now doesn't mean shit for the first 60 seconds of the game. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And then any character with a 10% is now at minus 16. Like, it's trait, like, although it's only 6%, which is a relatively small number, it's gonna hurt a lot. Like, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. There's a reason why, like, decoding buffs and debuffs, like, they are very strict and picky on when they want to change that.
just means that your early game decoding is going to be slower now if you do play the distance pulling meta in which you want to try getting accelerated decoding buff on. So from this point of view, as long as it's within 60 seconds of the game and if the hunter isn't chasing after anyone, you basically will receive this full 6% decoding debuff, right? And as you can see, once the 60-second has passed, the debuff will be fully it'll just get rid of by itself, honestly. Okay, the next one will be addiction. So for addiction got a small optimization, but it's mainly a buff. But what is the buff part of this? Well, the optimization part of this. So before, addiction had 15, 20, 25% of increased recovery rate when stunned when there's 2/3/4 survivors nearby. But now it is 10, 25, and 40% instead. So this simply just punishes survivors when survivors kind of over harass, and we only want one harasser instead of two, right? So that's like the small optimization there. And of course, for the second part as well, they removed the recovery rate or the slow debuffs, like, you know, reducing the slow debuffs on addiction as well. So I'd say that's a nerf from the side of addiction. But now, if you stun the hunter while addiction is activated, you get 10 to 20% slowdown or movement speed debuff depending on the distance. So as you can see here, we're going to stun Bloody Queen, and you see addiction here has been procced from the survivor side as inflicting a slowing effect.
Oh my god, that's slowdown. Holy crap, man. That slowdown is Jesus.
We're going to stun Bloody Queen, and you see addiction here has been procced from the survivor side as inflicting a
And that's like the closer, that's 10%. Like, that's 10%.
slowing effect. And now, as you can see, she runs normally now as the female dancer. So from the side of addiction, it's more or less a buff with some optimizations, some...
What I want to know is how this works with just any survivors in the area. That's just what I want to see. I hope he like goes through it, because you know it says immediately applies a slowing effect to survivors within 24 meters for 4 seconds up to 20%. So it's like, if they're, you know, obviously, like, if we're reading this correctly, every survivor that just is near the hunter is going to just get a 20% debuff of movement speed if they're far enough, minimum of 10%, which is still crazy to me.
Say that's a nerf from the side of addiction. But now, if you stun the hunter while addiction is Queen, and you see addiction female dancer. So from the side of addiction, it's more or less a buff with some optimizations, some clearance of certain, you know, parts of the persona, but more or less it's a buff. Our next under persona is going to be Claustrophobia. Claustrophobia just recently got buffed, as you can see on the screen here. Now they've added the fact that if there are 3 active survivors on the field, the execute opening speed will be reduced by 15%. So if we just pop open all the cipher machine here, and let's just see how slow it actually is. So with Cypher Machine has been popped, we're gonna open, and as you can see here, there's Claustrophobia here, in which it tells you your opening speed is decreased by 15%. Since there's only 3 active survivors here, as you can see, it's not as bad as the 70% one, but it is still pretty slow. I would say this is probably pretty similar to the likes of, you know, to the likes of Acrobat, but maybe just a little bit faster than Acrobat. But this does make sense if you popped open a Cypher Machine with 3-man endgame right after the hunter chairs the survivor, and there's no way in hell that the hunter can chase up towards the survivor to get them down on time and to chair them, so it's a guaranteed 3-man escape. So it's...
I low-key feel like they might buff this, I'm not gonna lie. I low-key feel like they might buff this. I can't even lie. 15% is... Again, this is just for me. I'm gonna be honest. 15% in most cases, like, assuming it's a 4-man endgame, if this is really meant to, like, give the hunters their quote-unquote comeback mechanic, 15% is not enough. Like, unless it's, like, a teleport-based hunter or, like, some shit like Clerk or some shit, 15% is not enough. Like, if they wanted to push that to the extra mile, they could have just made this the raw 30 and just made everyone an acrobat at that point. But do I want that personally? No, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I'm fine because I'm a survivor player, you know? That's just my survivor bias coming in. But in a, like, general sense, like, if they wanted to really make this a comeback mechanic, this should have probably been around, like, I would even say, like, bare minimum 20%. Like, 15%, like, in a general sense, it is too low. If they really wanted to make this like a comeback for 3-man endgames. Especially when it's like, it's 4-man endgame, not 4-man endgame, like you down someone before the cipher pops, they pop the cipher while you're ballooning. And then afterwards somebody's already framed one on a gate. It gives the hunter some level of time. If this is at bare minimum like 20, because like you saw you guys saw, I'm gonna mute just for this, but like you guys saw it, like the gate opening speed, like the 15% is visible, but it's not that visible.
Actually being buffed, because pre-buff no one actually used it, right? Since when you down someone, oh well, the debuff kind of just goes. So this is honestly speaking not a bad buff from the side of Claustrophobia. Okay, so this is pretty interesting for me as well, but as I get my my priestess to drop down the pallets here, let's look at the newest addition, Vigilance. So for Vigilance, when the first 3 Cypher machines are activated, each activation increases your movement speed by 6% for 10 seconds, and pallet destroying speed by 15%. So the pallet just...
They nerfed the fuck out of this. This used to be 10%, I think. And then this used to be 20? No, this used to be 30. This used to be 30. This used to be 10% and this used to be 30. So they nerfed the fuck out of this. They realized that this was beyond busted. Because what this is just the second the first 3 Cypher machines are active, every hunter has 2 stack destructiveness. Just blatantly. So for characters, so now characters that already like need destructiveness, they don't even need to bring it. Like they can just bring 1 stack in destructiveness and then just like the other persona points and whatever the fuck they feel like. So they nerfed this. I'm glad they nerfed it because this was beyond fucking stupid. This was a dumbass trait. Like I hated this so much.
Destroying speed can't be stacked, by the way, and the effect is permanently lost when a survivor is on a rocket chair. So let's just say I decode a Cypher machine. You can see here, right, Vigilance is activated and my movement speed is now increased by 10%. Let's keep doing this. So I'm just gonna decode like 3 Cypher machines now, and as you can see, this is stacked up. So now you have movement speed of 18%. And then your pallet destroying speed is 45%.
Whoa, wait, huh?
Okay, but it's like, why would I fight when I'm at a disadvantage?
By the way, and the effect is permanently lost when a survivor is on a rocket chair. So let's just say let's keep doing this.
Okay, I failed to notice the adjustment they made as well, that this activation, their use of words is so weird. Activated, so that means that when they pop, not when they're being decoded. Okay. God, netease's use of words is so interesting because when I'm thinking activated, I'm thinking like you're just starting up, not just like when it's popped. So weird. Okay. Okay, so the trait is not... Okay, never mind. Forget my prior statement.
Your pallet destroying speed is 45%. What I would probably say is, more or less from this point of view, this can be stacked up as much as you want, and it will be kind of permanently lost when a survivor is placed on a rocket chair. That simply just means that when a survivor goes on a rocket chair, this persona trait kind of just disappears in general. As you can see there as well, right? Like there was no activation of Vigilance at all, but it's only the... Well, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird how they phrase this, because it says it's only the first 3 Cypher machines, right? So at max, you can only have like 18% movement speed boost for 10 seconds and 45% pallet destroying speed. So like it's a bit confusing to me as well what they really mean by this. But like this is just kind of the persona for now.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry, it's a bit vague, but
yeah, I'm in that same boat because like the way they worded it is so weird. Because the way I thought of it was the fact that like when in the beginning of the game, when 3 survivors like touch the machine, like the 3 survivors that aren't being aren't decoding, then that buff gets applied, which means that for the first like couple seconds of that chase, that hunter is like God, you know, like for the first couple seconds of that chase, that hunter just becomes the embodiment of Christ, you know. But it's like their wording is just so weird. Like,
Yo, Ronnie.
everything's on your screen currently. When we popped open the 4 Cypher machine, it kind of triple stacked it, and oh no, it didn't triple stack. So it's actually only the first 3 Cypher machine. But like the effect can stack and is permanently lost when a survivor is placed on rocket chair. I think that simply just means that if we kind of just remake the game here and we redo it, that means that if we, let's say, just chair priestess immediately and then decode and then like pop open the 3 Cypher machines, that actually won't come into effect. So Vigilance is pretty, let's say, in a way, it's to allow hunters to get a survivor down once the 3 Cypher machine has been popped open, so it gives them more of an edge. But if I just teleport...
yeah, I guess, but now that just makes the trait feel useless. Like I said, wording is everything, but now, okay, well, this trait kind of just feels useless because, like, this is only going to proc if you get 3 Cypher kited, and realistically speaking, you shouldn't get 3 Cypher kited as a hunter anyway. So it's like, You shouldn't get 3 cipher kited that often to the point where like this needs to proc at max value.
Pour towards Priestess right now and then like down her here instantly as she gets moisture. We'll talk about Knight's buff later on, but we're gonna get Priestess down, we're gonna pick Priestess up, and now we are going to chair Priestess. Let's see if Vigilance stacks or not as we pop open the first 3 cipher machines. So I'm gonna do that. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, it did stack, but once Priestess is on chair, it just permanently disappeared. So more or less, Vigilance is pretty situational in a sense. Okay, now let's look at Giant Claw. So Giant Claw overall got a buff. There is one thing that they've removed from it, but more or less it is a buff. So Survivors tied to Balloon have their struggling speed reduced by 5, 10, 15% is still the same. But now what they've done is they added the fact that it will be a decoding speed debuff of up to 20% for 10 seconds if the Survivor struggles free from the balloon. As we can see here, the Doctor just struggled free from the balloon. We can see this Giant Claw effect, 20% decoding speed debuff. You can see
Oh my lord.
Apply for the next 10 seconds. But one of the big factors I really want to talk about this right now is they've actually removed the struggling effect of 25, 50, and 75% away from Giant Claw. I personally kind of liked it, right? Especially at big boat areas, you know, especially, you know, at the big boat when they can actually struggle down pretty easily.
This is gonna be so filthy. 20% debuff. Oh my god. Granted, struggling's already rare as it is, but still. It's just like, damn. Like, this is gonna be, again, this is a hyper situational trait. I just like 20% me no likey.
As we can see here, the Doctor just struggled free from the balloon. We can see this Giant Claw effect, 20% decoding speed debuff. You can see here as well, will be applied for the next 10 seconds. But one of the big factors I really want to talk about this right now is they've actually removed the struggling effect of 25, 50, and 75% away from Giant Claw. I personally kind of liked it, right? Especially at big boat areas, you know, especially, you know, at the big boat when they can actually struggle down pretty easily. But I guess more or less, it is still pretty preventable in a sense as well. But that's this for Giant Claw.
Yeah.
Okay, next will be Impact. So Impact got a really big buff. Previously, Impact's healing debuff was 15, 20/25%. Now they've increased it to 20, 30, and 40%. So as you can see here from my side of Impact, the self-healing time and healing.
This is so disgusting. So disgusting. Oh my god.
Other survivors has been reduced by 40%. And if we heal TME, well, I guess if we heal TME right here, there doesn't seem like there is any difference. But I feel like if I just enable AI controls here and for TME to heal me, it doesn't really seem like it's a 40% debuff, I'll be honest with you. So I can only assume that this is actually self-healing time. So I'm gonna turn off the AI controls there. I'm just going to start running. And I am going to teleport towards Geisha. Once again, right, not my issue, really. This is something that you do have to blame for kind of just miscommunication from a side of NetEase in general, but self-healing speed is reduced by 40%, it seems. I guess that's 40%? It does seem pretty fast, but it's the same speed as TME actually healed us, so I might have made a mistake here. But as you can see, it is pretty slow compared to usual, and it...
Clown is gonna love this, Hermit is gonna love this, Photo is gonna love this, any slugging hunter is gonna fucking love this.
Does stack into effect as well, as you can see here. So increased self-healing time and healing time for other survivors after being hit by 40%. It does seem pretty fast. I did not bring flywheel, by the way, and it does seem still pretty fast. So yeah, maybe I'm not understanding anything, but that's Impact. Okay, now then the next one will be Hunt. So for Hunt got a buff as well. After pursuing survivors for 11/9/7 seconds, it was previously 12, 10, and 8, right? Now you gain a 10% increased movement speed and obstacle vaulting speed. As we can see here,
this Hunt buff is going to go absolutely crazy. Got no idea. The fact that now Hunt doesn't stop for getting I'm sure that I need to reread the description again because I low-key forgot. Movement speed and obstacle vaulting. Yeah. The bonus is lost and pursuit fails when interacting, attacking, or using an ability or being controlled. So yeah. Oh, hiccups there. The fact that now hunt only gets lost when you break pallets is really good for the hunters. So hunt dependent hunters like Ivy, who like mind game a lot of windows and whatnot, this is gonna be really good for her. So yeah, this is kind of wicked. I'm not gonna lie. Witch is gonna fucking love this, bro. Witch is gonna love this.
After such a short period of
Uh,
time. But what I am pretty interested in here is it says that this bonus will be lost if pursuit fails, interacting, attacking, and using ability or being controlled. But it does say that our vaulting speed actually has been increased here as well. So I guess my question would be, does it maintain if we vault? So vaulting speed is faster, but it just get removed. So as you can see there, hunts actually got removed.
Huh.
Right afterwards as well. So we can just show it to you guys here once again.
Really?
I'm chasing, I'm chasing after the gardener. Gardener, hello. I'm chasing after the gardener. I have hunt. I vault over the window by 10% faster, but I do lose hunt ability right afterwards as well.
Okay, that's a different case. So you still need to reactivate hunt after it gets after the window vault, but you just keep it till the end of the window vault, and then that's when you lose it. You don't lose it at the beginning. Okay, that makes it that does make it a little bit worse, but it's still a net positive. You know, that's fine. That's fine. Their wording with shit just like it's really bad, man. Like their wording for certain things is really good. Like I was great for Overwhelm, and but here and here it's like what happened, netease, with the wording.
So regardless of what happens, the moment you interact, you are pretty cooked in that sense as well, lol. But that's that for hunt.
Yeah, we're cooked.
Now then, the next adjustment here will actually be tolerance. Tolerance got a buff as well. So
Yo!
what part of tolerance did we actually get buff?
Do we gotta bully the Mary like that, bro? Like, damn, bro. She a baddie. Why you gotta make her get hit with tram like that?
So from the slide of tolerance right now, previously the knockback effect was reduced by 816/24%. Now they've actually increased it to 12, 22, and 32%. So from my forward here, I'm going to stand at the very depth end corner here, and I'm just going to pull one straight long ball.
Let's see this. Let's see this knockback, because harassers are dead.
A ball. This consumes around half a ball, and just by consuming half a ball...
I was half? That was half. No.
Just gonna pull one straight long ball. I'll tell you how much this consumes because I'm playing on my phone right now. We pull a ball. This consumes around half a ball, and just
that was half. Oh my, yo, bro. Why did we buff this trait? Why? Any hunter that brings insolence, just you don't gotta bring excitement for harassers, bro. If you run insolence, you don't need to bring excitement for harassers. Like you don't need to bring excitement for harassers if you have insolence, bro. You don't. That's wow. What the fuck?
just by consuming half a ball, there's only this much distance created. So half a ball with just this much distance on tolerance is pretty darn good. I won't lie to you, but yeah.
Harasser meta is just dead. Harasser is already dead, but
like these actually go in hand in hand, and we're gonna use undead for this one as well as he towers over me. So it's gonna be Sweet Sweeper and After Effects, but we're gonna look at After Effects first. So from the side of After Effects, right now it's still the same except for the fact that they've added his self-healing speed increased by 8, 12, and 16%, meaning it takes longer for you to actually self-heal when you're down on the ground as.
Oh my god. That's with Percy's like healing buff, because you know when you're playing against a Percy, you self heal faster, so that way then you don't like die on the floor in 30 seconds. Dude. Oh, Clown is gonna go crazy with these slugging shits.
Now, as we can see, as a little girl, my self-healing speed is generally speaking pretty slow, especially at 16% here as well.
Holy shit!
That's not only that too. As I reduce my own fear, we get up here. What is also the next thing? The next thing is Street Sweeper. Everyone knows that Street Sweeper wasn't really a good persona, but they recently added that if you are nearby, if you're within 24, 28, and 32 meters, their healing speed will also be increased by 25, 40, and 55%.
They nerfed this though. They did nerf it. Cause beforehand what that used to be was this just used to be the buff was originally it was just gonna be a straight 32 meters. Just you bring Street Sweeper 32 meters and then healing time by 25, 40, and 55. So this is what was gonna be the 3-stack, and then just 32 meters was gonna be unconditional. That's what originally it was gonna be. But they changed it to 24, 28, 32. But, you know, you're not really running max Street Sweeper most of the time. I think 1 is still fine, but still 25%, like, that means just, like, for hunters that, like, proxy camp, like, hunters that are, like, again, just, like, this is all, like, it's funny because they made all these changes for anti-slugging, and then they're making persona traits that are beneficial for hunters to slug. It's, like, it's so many contradictory changes. Oh, wow, like... Jesus.
By 25, 40, and 55%. This is exceptionally good for undead, but as you can see here as well, right? Let's just say for an example, I'm gonna heal this Cordy up to maybe like 90% heal speed, 90%, so it's 90 or 95%, right? And I'm just gonna get the undead to hit me, and then I try basically heal this Cordy with maxed Street Sweeper, right? This is really good for undead. So I'd say, you know what? This is probably around. This is probably. We're gonna do 95. So, hold on. So this is probably around 95. So I'm just gonna get undead to hit me. Oh, I got hit. I'm gonna strike heal Cordy. Cordy got up. We got up. Undead's attack recovery just ended. He can dash. Cooked. I do think this is really good for undead.
Straight cooked. We're straight cooked. Straight cooked.
Genuinely speaking, dude.
But yeah.
That this is really, really, really good for undead.
We're cooked.
But that's gonna be the end of all our hunter
All right, well that's his outro, so I guess I'm gonna cue mine. Yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Once again, thank you, Kuroshiro, for recording this for us to see and see in fruition. Netease, I'm gonna be honest, they really gotta work on their translation because this should have been a way better trait than it was. Am I happy as a survivor main, like with my bias towards, you know, being a survivor player? Am I happy that this is bad? Yes. Should it have been bad and as horribly worded as it is? No. Still, like, same with Claustrophobia. Am I happy it's bad because I'm a survivor main? Yes. Should it have been like that? No. Like, this should have also been better. Like, it's kind of like there is Jesus, like these a lot, like these traits in specific where I was kind of like they could like be potentially like game breaking for a lot of hunters. Like, it's not like, it's kind of like nothing burger changes to a degree because they're reliant on you being like, with all due respect, you know, shit at the game to begin with, you know. So it is kind of wicked to see. I'm not gonna lie, this is wicked work for these two in specific. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about these persona changes, and if you are disappointed, you know, or happy with the changes. I can say that I am not disappointed, but I am kind of scared because a lot of niche hunters that I hate facing, i.e. photographer, i.e. hermit, are gonna benefit from this a lot, and I'm gonna hate getting them in my fucking matches, and I will bitch about it to no end. So yeah, just a disclaimer there. With that being said, once again, thank y'all for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.